Everybody out there that is listening to the Chinese media, the worldview is that China's easing its restrictions.
I can't wait for you to see what that means.
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, this particular thing was shot in the 11th of November.
Yeah, this is just this is for context.
Yeah. If you have a red QR code and you want to go into a public place, you have to get scanned. Now, usually they actually have people that scan your code.
Yeah.
But they also set up machines like this. So this is what happens. Let me turn up the volume. If you try to go into a place and you have a red code.
It takes your picture.
Takes a picture, sets off an alarm, and of course now it's time for you to get taken away and arrested. Okay.
You guys want to see what zero COVID is now? The relaxing of rules. What's
都
that?
是都是红码和黄码是吧？
It's actually like gun forcing people to line up.
I would like everybody to pay attention to the clip on the left here, okay? You know, the one with all the phones? This was in the Guangzhou railway station. These were people trying to leave Guangzhou. So you've got the Guangzhou Dong, and then you've got the main Guangzhou rail station, the east and the main one.
Yeah.
These people at the rail station, and they're about to leave Guangdong, and then remotely, suddenly, all of their phones were turned to either red or yellow.
Yes.
And this was to prevent them from leaving, obviously, because now you can't get on the train.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that you'll see in amongst that crowd yellow codes
好的好的。
and red codes. Okay? And you have to think to yourself, that's kind of bizarre. Surely they should all be red then. You shouldn't get some red, some yellow. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So it just shows you it's not working very well.
No.
This clip over here of the young boy is like about a month or so old. It's not new. But this is what you expect when you're in these quarantine facilities. And here's what we have to say about the quarantine facilities. You have to pay for it.
Yep.
It's not government funded.
No.
Okay? Anyone who, I mean, in the beginning it was. That was the whole thing, like, oh, we're going to put you under, like, you know, lockdown for a week or two, and we'll take care. No, now you pay for it. So it's kind of like being arrested, taken to prison, and you have to pay rent.
Yes.
You know? So
Yeah.
you pay for that. You pay for the
Against your will.
food. You have no choice. It's like a monopoly business.
You live in a metal box, and you get slop delivered of different varying quality, if you're lucky.
You get tested. You have to pay. The COVID testing, I think it works out to something around 40 or 50 US dollars a month is what people are paying for testing now.
Right.
Okay?
In China, that's a lot more.
That's a
than
lot
here.
of money in China. Even here, who's got that to spare?
Yeah, just for like not your choice.
Yeah,
right?
it's not your choice. And then, of course, if you're stuck in the quarantine facility, you have to pay for that too. I'm just saying everybody's paying that.
Yeah.
This whole COVID testing nonsense is now made up 1.3% of China's GDP.
Yeah, it's a solid part of China's economy is COVID testing, just testing,
Just testing.
not the rest of the COVID economy.
No.
Which you're about to find out.
Yeah, take a look at these people over here. They are showing their green QR code just so that they can be given a ticket to get on the bus. Okay?
Yeah.
That's how it works. You have to show you've got a green QR code. It's just madness. You know, how is this good for zero COVID? Look at everyone crowding together. Now we want to show you just some of the recent quarantine camps that have been built. Okay? If you take a look behind us here.
Use the context. China is reducing its zero COVID regulations.
Yes.
China is easing up.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah. All right. This is a small one. Okay. Now we got another one busy being built here. These are different cities, different parts of China, guys. They are increasing the amount of these quarantine facilities because now what's happening is you can see people leaving a quarantine facility now. They've paid their quarantine fees. These are buses lined up to take people to quarantine camps because now your thing goes yellow or goes red. They bus you off to one of these quarantine facilities where you have to pay for your stay.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's like an inexhaustible revenue stream.
Yeah.
You can just turn people's codes yellow and then suddenly you got a bunch of new clients.
Keep playing.
Yeah, we have to give context to all these clips.
They're very long.
Okay, this clip you see over here are people lining up to get their tests in the snow.
In Shandong, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to ask you a question here, okay? I'll ask our audience. If you're a mother or a father and you have a young child, is this what you want to start your day with? standing for hours in the snow, in the cold, in order to get a forced test, something shoved down your nose or your throat? Is this what you want? You know? Is this something that's acceptable? I certainly don't think it's acceptable. And this is something you have to do. If you don't get this swab, if you don't get this test, you can't go to school, you can't go to your job, you can't go into a mall, you'll get bussed away. Those guys, if you don't get this test when they tell you to, that's when those guys come to your house.
They grab you
and they drag
throw
you out
in a bus or a police car, and you go to a quarantine camp in a metal box in the snow here.
Yeah. It's not what you want. You know what I mean? I think it's absolutely inhumane, and you can maybe start to understand why these uprisings happen in the first place. Because
wait. No, there's no uprisings, and there's easing the zero COVID policy. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. This stuff has been going on now for years.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not just like, oh, it's just started. And there had to have been a boiling point for people, right?
Yeah.
To have to sit in this kind of crappy weather every day, because it's winter now in China.
Yeah.
You're really just, you're living like an animal. See, everybody's going to that testing place to get tested. It's absolutely outrageous. But when you start to see the scale, which we'll show you in a minute, of the new facilities being built, and we're going to be showing you clips that are very recent. Okay, look behind us over here. These are in completely different parts of the country. So we're not looking at one specific area. We're looking at, clips from the north and the south and the east and the west, like all over the country. All these massive quarantine facilities are being built. Look at that highway, okay? See this one here? I cannot see the end of that, okay? They've built these containers on the road, on the highway, to house quarantine victims, okay? Yeah. Look at that. It's unbelievable.
Forced quarantine victims.
Forced quarantine victims. Your code goes yellow or it goes red. You've got no choice. They bus you out there and you have to pay to stay there.
You see how this economy works now.
Yeah.
Right? This is for profit now, and the Chinese government is profiting.
Just that image alone right there, that you can look all the way to the horizon and you cannot see the end of these quarantine facilities. You have no idea.
Where's the media talking about this, by the way? All I see is damaging-ass headlines saying China is releasing some of the COVID protocol. China is easing up. Bro, they have a whole economy setting up entire cities, city size of prisons, forced prisons for people.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. The smallest quarantine facilities that you're seeing being set up here are for like maybe 20,000 people, but they go up to like, you can just imagine hundreds of thousands of people in some of these places can be housed. If you look at the actual scope of what you're seeing here, it's intense. And, they're building it, like I said, all over the country.
North, south, east, west.
Yeah, you can't get away from it. It's like everywhere. Why would there be so much investment? Because this is not cheap to do.
No.
So much investment to build these things if they were winding it down.
Why would they say that zero COVID is done and that it's all over if they're making all of these quarantine facilities? Zero COVID, one of the tenements of zero COVID is this.
Yeah.
Is these capsules that
this
they
is
make.
it. It's all about your quarantine. They forcefully... They don't let you sit at your house to quarantine, by the way, if you've been exposed. And again,
only in some districts.
Asymptomatic, guys, as in you don't have a cough, you don't have a fever, you don't have anything. But when you go for one of those forced tests and it comes up, oh, this guy's got COVID, guess what? They send you to these places.
Yeah.
Okay? These places that they're still building right now. I mean, the scope of these things is insane.
It's a huge part of China's economy now.
Yeah. So they're not going to ease this down because then they would have wasted billions and trillions.
You know what's funny is that I'm seeing a lot of the stuff being dressed up as, oh, this is not quarantine facilities. This is we're just building things. Temporary housing because they're going to do a massive infrastructure project, and these are temporary dorms.
Sure.
You're seeing deflection like that nowadays on the Chinese internet as well. Because they want people to freak out, right?
Yeah, I know. And they keep trying to spin a humanitarian thing on this. They try to say like, oh, look at America and they have no place in their hospitals. Everyone's dying and the ICUs can't handle it. Well, look, we're building these so that we can handle. Those are not hospitals. These are not hospitals. These are quarantine facilities.
These are slave camps.
Yeah, look, it's little boxes. It's little prisons. Okay?
These are taking people away, getting rid of their income, making them pay to be locked up in a box when they committed no crimes. That's slavery.
Yes.
That's medical slavery.
Yeah, it is. It's incarceration.
Yes.
You know, you are being put into a prison against your will for not committing a crime.
Yes.
You know, just look at the scope of some of these that we're showing you over here. And when you look at the scope of what's going on, nobody in their right mind can say that they're dialing down.
I mean, you just have to look at it. I
Sure.
just don't understand. I'm not saying, I'm not one of these mainstream media haters, by the way.
Yeah.
But I think it does massive disservice to people to go out there and say that this is all over and that the Chinese government's changing its mind about a lot of things. When a couple districts, a couple areas are allowing self-quarantine at home. A couple areas have reduced restrictions.
Yes.
And that means that zero COVID is relinquishing. Bro, the whole economy's built on it now.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's not a little chunk of the country. That was widespread nationwide.
Yeah, all of these clips we were showing here were from all different parts of the country. It's not just one project we're showing you there.
What, are they going to abandon them?
No, of course not. Of course they're going to use them. They built them for a purpose. They've been built
have to pay
for a
for
purpose.
themselves, right?
Yeah, of course. Now, again, I just wanted to shatter this idea that things have been relaxed, because even the foreigners in Shanghai who try their absolute best to defend their bad choice of remaining in Shanghai, they always do. They're like, oh, it's not that bad. Even they are complaining. This is from the Shanghai subreddit. I blanked out the person's name because it's not necessary to show, but the guy's like, oh, second weekend in a row under lockdown, keep getting random lockdowns, always on Friday. I asked in my building group chat, why is it always on goddamn Friday? I could forgive getting locked in if at least I got a day or two off work, but I always seem to get sealed in over the weekend. And the reply was, remember, it's all about public safety. So in Shanghai, people are getting locked down. Not everybody, of course, and you'll get those outliers who'll go out there and say, oh, we're free. You don't just talk nonsense. But people are getting locked down. In Beijing, I put a poll out on my Twitter. I asked, because many people I know in Beijing are locked down, so I asked publicly on Twitter, you know, is this true? How many people are locked down? And the majority of people are like, yeah, we're locked down.
Yeah.
But you get the one or two people in there like, oh, no, I'm not locked down. And when you look into their accounts, they're actually like pro-China, like, you know, bots or CCP Wuma and stuff.
Sure.
But some of them legitimately aren't locked down.
Sure.
Okay. Thing is, lockdowns are happening everywhere. It's not easing up.
No.
Just wanted to put that across there. And people are being taken from their homes now. And people that were involved in the protests are now being arrested, talked to, that sort of thing. We're getting a lot of reports of the Dabai, the police coming to people's apartment complexes. One of my subscribers...
By the way, the reply in Chinese, you read the English.
Right.
It was 周末不要上班 if you go back.
Oh, yeah, you don't need to work on the weekend.
Yeah, 周末不要上班 不会影响 GDP. It means like if you don't work on the weekends, then it won't influence
the GDP. Yeah, so that's why he's just saying that, because you don't get, you know, locked in.
Yeah.
Also, if the zero COVID restrictions are easing up, why is it that the Formula One, the 2023 Chinese Grand Prix, will not take place due to ongoing difficulties presented by the COVID-19 situation?
But I thought it was eased up.
This is breaking news. This happened just before we started the show.
Yeah.
The Chinese Grand Prix has been cancelled.
Yeah. But
Because
I thought
of
it was
COVID.
eased up.
Yeah, well, if it was easing up, surely they wouldn't have to cancel it.
Yeah. Interesting.
You know, I'm just so sick and tired of this say one thing, do another thing, and people believe what you say.
Yeah.
You know?
Because it does work. It works on the media.
It works very
on
well.
the economy. It works on investors. It works on everyone that's like, oh, finally, you know, China's got some sense.
Yeah.
No.
It's like, oh, they're easing up.
Yeah.
And then let's invest. Yeah. That's why they do it. That's why they allow these rumors to go around. But you know what? Remember those rumors that they're going to be easing things up and it's going to be good? Never came to fruition.
No.
You know? It's nonsense. And it's one of those things where you cannot believe what the Chinese government says, ever, because they just lie with a straight face all the bloody time, you know?
Yeah.